Hello and welcome back to Apostate Coalition. I am Ryan, and tonight on the Worldly Perspective, we're going to let the fossil record speak for itself. And Dr. Time Waster is going to be the, let's say, our guide, our tour guide of sorts through the Jehovah's Witness book of life. How did we get here?
I will do my best to guide us through what I can only imagine is gonna be fun, you guys. It's gonna be fun. All right. So
Absolutely. Counting on it.
Yes. Thank you for all joining our Worldly Book Study. We are at chapter 5 of the book Creation. How did it get here? Well, we'll find out. And these are our co-hosts. I don't know, what do we call it? This is a book study. We're all just here.
What are we? We're just okay.
I'm just a sinner.
We're eager center. We're eager worldly sinners.
The apostates is what the isn't that what the channel is?
Apostate what?
That'll get us canceled.
Well, welcome, heathens. We have Dobstopper, Tyler Rickshaw, our lovely host Ryan, and myself, Dr. Time Waster. So let's just go ahead and jump in, because I'm sure you are all just dying to know what does the 1986 published book of the Jehovah's Witnesses authors have to say and teach us about the fossil record and what it says. Or apparently we're not letting it speak. So let's get on.
Say something.
Does anybody have anything to say before we dive in?
I just found my number one enemy throughout all of the history of Earth.
Uh-oh, what's that?
This fish here.
Don't spoil it. We're gonna get to it.
Don't spoil it yet. Midlife crisis fish. We'll get to it.
More of the show.
Letting the fossil record speak. Fossils are the.
Damn. Yelling at me?
Speak it.
Say it like you mean it.
Fossils are the remains of ancient forms of life preserved in the Earth's crust. These may be skeletons or parts of these. These may be skeletons or parts of them, such as bones, teeth, or shells. A fossil also may be some trace of the activity of what was once alive, such as an imprint or a trail. Many fossils no longer contain their original material, but are made up of mineral deposits that have infiltrated them and have taken on their shape. Why are fossils important to evolution? Geneticist G.L. Stebbins noted a major reason. No biologist has actually seen the origin by evolution of a major group of organisms. So living things on Earth today are not seen to be evolving into something else. Instead, they are all complete in form and distinct from other types. As geneticist Theo Dobzhansky observed, the living world is not a single array, ... connected by unbroken series of intergrades. And Charles Darwin conceded that the distinction of I hate that word, living forms and they're not being blended together by innumerable transitional links is a very obvious difficulty.
Wow. Well, thank you.
Good job, brother Tyler.
Okay, go ahead. Finish that third paragraph.
C. Thus, the distinct varieties of things now alive offer no support to the theory of evolution. That is why the fossil record became so important. It was felt that at least fossils will provide the confirmation that the theory of evolution needed. Judge.
Well then, so what are fossils?
Fossils.
Well, they can
Imprints
be
left by
bones,
living
teeth,
organisms.
shells of something that was once alive, but now it's not.
Yeah.
I mean, they do kind of give a somewhat accurate depiction of what a fossil is. It's those things, and they kind of get at a bunch of the different ways in which fossils can be made, like imprints, casts, molds, the tissue of the animal hardening, mineralization. Those are all multiple ways that it can do it. It's not just one way. But I really like the second question.
Yeah.
Why are fossils important to evolution?
Oh, I think it was felt that fossils would provide the confirmation that the theory of evolution needed.
Are you just giving the book answer?
That's
The answer
not
you're supposed to give.
I'm trying to be a good Jehovah's Witness.
I have a better question. Why are fossils important to everyone?
Ooh.
Mm.
They tell us stories about like what once was, the type of organism, the what it lived on, like what plants would have been that it's, or if it's a meat eater or whatnot. But it tells us a lot about that. I mean, I'm not a scientist or any shit.
I
So
mean,
don't
But
expect
you
anything.
like history.
of life on Earth.
Yeah,
Mm.
it's part of history. Like we dig up
Mhm.
we dig up tools that some ancient civilization used to use because we think it's interesting to learn how humans used to live. But like this is also part of history, and this is the same kind of thing. um, does anybody know actually how long, like, when does something become a fossil? Because Jay actually stumbled into the best question, which is when does it become a fossil, right?
If I'm pulling from my animation knowledge,
Wait, what was the question?
How do you define when something is considered a fossil?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah,
Like what's the youngest fossil you can have?
Oh.
I would think that the youngest fossil would be when there is no more actual original living material, that it's all mineralized or something like that. That's
And
what I would think.
that's probably a good answer depending on like the type of fossil we're talking about. I would think that's probably a really good answer for like a generic individualized timeline. I think I was reading that, and this is probably just like bone fossils, but like for it to harden and mineralize into what's considered a fossil somewhere between 10,000 years and 4 billion years.
Damn.
It depends. I think it depends on where you're in, what kind of rock you're in, or mineralization. But yeah, I mean, it's cool to know that information. In fact, we can use it to help predict timelines of things, and then vice versa. We use the geological record, which is also just timing the age of rocks that have formed and mineralized. And we can use these as timelines. That's why they know the Earth is not 6,000 years old. But I know I'm getting ahead of myself, aren't I?
Yeah.
so the Earth is 6,000 years old.
Just the Earth,
So you
though,
say.
not what's inside it. Yeah, we can take a look at the. What do you guys think of this?
So what are they
Comparison.
trying? What is this here? Orthodox evolutionary theory anticipated a fossil record that contains Should I read them?
What is orthodox
Mhm.
Yeah.
theory?
Yeah, what are they?
That's a
Orthodox
good
evolutionary
question.
theory. And I guess a very
It's kind of drawing the line between the idea that evolution is a theory that's probably in and of itself evolving as more information becomes available, right? There's a lot of ideas that people had about evolution early on that a lot of scientists now today have found things that say it's not quite that way. It's still similar, but not that way, right? And so they're saying orthodox being a very rigid point in time of when scientists thought things were like, right? I'm so not explaining this very well.
Oh no, you're doing a good job. You're doing a
But
really good job.
that's what I take from it is it's a very like the early theories of evolution and not how we've gotten so much more. We've got like decades of data since then. And so like some of these aren't even the way that everybody thinks evolution happened.
Right.
Yeah. Scroll. Yeah.
What do we want to do? How are we gonna?
You ready?
We're ready. Moving on to 4.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Unless anybody else has anything to add to my rambling.
Basically everything you said, that.
And yes.
Yes.
One more thing to scroll back up to the table. I would like to understand the definition of a kind.
Yeah,
They use this terminology, and we know why they use this terminology because this terminology is what's used in Genesis, and they just need all of this to fit that perspective.
Right.
That they're wanting it all to fit that theory, so they're going to use that terminology. That's fine. That's fair. Let's use their terminology. How do they define what a kind is? What is a kind?
I have not ever gotten an answer on that.
Is a dog a kind?
Mankind?
Right? Like,
yeah.
Mankind.
The phylogeny of the animal kingdom, right, is full of different intermediate branches, stages, definitions. You know, they is genus, species. Well, now there's subspecies because there's so many new things that they keep finding, and they keep having to reorganize it. So there's no kind section, right? There's a phylum, there's a kingdom, right? We're
family.
Family. We're getting into. So is it a family? Should we just say a kind is a family and just say that's the same terminology?
Dang, that would be a very wide group to say the kind is if they're all one family.
So one's a gradient.
Mm-hmm.
One is an abrupt on, off, yes, no. There's only this way or this way, which is kind of the what we've been dealing with this whole book. The title of this book is life by evolution or creation? There's no other options.
Right.
And we know there's people with plenty of other ideas. Just as plausible as God did it, right? So there's just it's either on or off, yes or no. And I think that's kind of what they're oversimplifying everything to the point where it just starts to get ridiculous and doesn't feel like we can learn anything more from it. That's kind of when I grew up. It was like, okay, so that's it, and I can't learn anything more from it. So boring.
Yes, it felt very boring because everything's leading. It just leads you right to their answer. There's no think about it, expand your mind. Like they might ask you questions like that, but then they have the answer formed for you.
Right.
So,
right here in the book.
You know, Dobstopper's excellent at finding the answer that they wanted you to answer. Like that's why it was so boring after a while, because like everybody knew what they were going to say. Like somebody,
it's almost like you knew where to find it. Like the answer was going to be like 1 or 2 sentences in, and then maybe like towards the middle to the end of the paragraph. That's usually just like the rhythm.
Well, it was in the first sentence last time, so I'm betting it's going to be near the end of the paragraph next time.
Yeah, you're just kind of It's a guessing game. You're not really paying attention.
You figure it out after a while how to find it pretty quickly.
Yes.
It's usually at the beginning of a paragraph. Or at the very end.
What to look for? If evolution was a fact, the fossil evidence would surely reveal the gradual changing from one kind of life into another. And that would have to be the case regardless of which variation of evolutionary theory is accepted. Even scientists who believe in the more rapid changing associated with the punctuated equilibrium theory acknowledge that there would still have been many thousands of years during which these changes supposedly took place. So it's not reasonable to believe that there would be no need at all for linking fossils. Also, if evolution was founded in fact, the fossil record would be expected to reveal beginnings of new structures and living things. There should be at least some fossils with developing arms, legs. Mm. Did I miss a piece? What was the last thing I read?
Yeah.
Arms, legs show one type
Oh,
of.
it's in the,
No.
it's in the, it's in the, it's in the, it's
Too
in the, it's
far.
where the fish. It's where the fish is.
Oh, it
Yeah,
is in the Oh, my
Oh.
bad. They
Oh.
they tripped me up with the change of the color of the whole thing. I
Oh.
thought it was like a whole nother little doodad. My bad. The fish wants to look at us.
Wings, eyes, and other bones and organs. For instance, there should be fish fins changing into amphibian legs with feet and toes and gills changing into lungs. There should be reptiles with front limbs changing into bird wings, back limbs changing into leg wings with claws, scales changing into feathers, and mouths changing into horned beaks. In this regard, the British journal New Scientist says of the theory, it predicts that a complete fossil record will consist of lineages of organisms showing gradual change continuously over long periods of time. As Darwin himself asserted, the number of intermediate varieties which have formerly existed must be truly enormous. On the other hand, if Genesis creation account is factual, then the fossil record would not show one type of life turning into another. It would reflect a Genesis statement that each different type of living thing would reproduce only according to its kind. Genesis 1, 11, 12, 21, 24, and 25. Also, if living things came into being by an act of creation, there will be no partial, unfinished, or organ in the fossil record. All fossils will be complete and highly complex as living things are today. In addition, as living things were created, they will be expected to appear suddenly in the fossil record, unconnected to anything before them. And if this was found to be true, what then? Darwin frankly admitted it. If numerous species have really started into life at once, the fact would be fatal to the theory of evolution.
I need to know what they cut out there. That's going to be bad.
I think on that particular one, I have to go back and look it up, but I think that particular one was like, he goes further on to say, however, the fossil record does do something, or he says something and basically proves his point. So anyway, yes. We started from 4. So you just power read through that whole thing.
Yeah, that was that was an Olympic size.
The question on 4 to 6 was this, if evolution were factual, what would the fossil evidence show? And honestly, I think that's a great question.
I do too.
You would show mouths to beaks and fins to feathers. Okay.
Feet to toes, toes to ears,
Yeah,
ears
right.
to eyes. You be seeing all types of stuff.
Yeah, it's just random mutations of
Eyes on your toes.
I think it would be the fossil evidence would surely reveal a gradual changing from one kind of life into another.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I agree.
No, that's a valid thing. Would we expect the fossil record to show, I don't know, animals that kind of look similar but also different, and then over time we can compare them to the animals that live today and see how maybe they might have, I don't know, looked different from each other and changed, shared
Man, this creation theory seems more logical.
DNA. You know, there's a lot we can do with genetics now that show that there's a lot of inheritance, that we share a lot of DNA molecules. But yes, fossils. Yeah, I think that's a really interesting thing, even with punctuated equilibrium. So punctuated equilibrium is the idea that evolution doesn't always happen really slowly, that there could be a very big change that could then have a more sudden change. And obviously it's not talking about necessarily extinctions, but extinctions could be something that would be a huge driving force to, say, remove all of the competition in an ecosystem, that as long as that species could survive through that time period, they would gain a great advantage as a species and maybe wouldn't have otherwise been a big population on the planet. They believe that mammals only got their start because dinosaurs died out, and the only animals that did survive were flying dinosaurs and mammals, little rodents, and of course lots of bugs and fish and things like that. But that paved the way for
creepy crawlers.
Right. And there's so many characteristics that we share in common. If nobody has ever heard of this term, comparative anatomy, it is literally the study of current species. And I'm sure there's a branch of it that also does, fossilized species, but comparing like the hand to all other mammals' hands and seeing the similarities of the bones that line up, how many toes and fingers and the shape of everything. There's a lot of differences. But when you also look at embryology, so as an embryo is forming into a fetus, if you look at an embryo at a very early stage, they all look alike. They all can look indistinguishable from each other. And what they can do is trace out the genes that are encoding for the hands, the bones in your hand, and see that mammals will have the same bones for the same genes that line up, not quite the same, but very similarly to all the other mammals. And this is just one example of so many examples
Can I say something?
of slow change and how we're all related. No. I'm on a roll. No, go ahead.
I hear what you're saying.
Uh-huh.
I'm picking up what you put down.
Uh-huh.
I went to the zoo one time,
Mhm.
and I'm not into nothing. All I know is I put my hand in a little chimpanzee handprint, and I said, something about that looks familiar. There's something else. I'm like, yeah, that looks familiar. I was looking at the chimpanzees in there. I was like, something about what y'all doing looks familiar. I don't know. I'm watching y'all. Something about y'all. I don't know what it is.
Their
I
fingers.
remember my first
Didn't
time
somebody-
seeing them.
Like you ever see one with like a hairless chimp?
Yeah,
Like that is so like
terrifying.
yeah, but it's also like
Good looking.
that look like something there. There's something there.
Yeah, you wouldn't be the only person to have made that.
Like you just got they talk. If you just look, you like there's something there.
Uh-huh.
I agree.
There's something there. You ain't gotta know all this. You ain't gotta be deep into the
I
science.
feel
To
like
look
I'm
at
looking
that.
at this fish.
Look at that fish. There's something there.
Have you guys seen the gorilla in the zoo that wants to look at people's phones and tells people to show them their phone so that he can watch
Oh yeah.
what's on our phone. Like
He wants to watch. They want to watch TikTok.
Yeah,
They stay
yeah.
scrolling
We
through
all want to
videos.
watch. Everybody wants TikTok. Let's face
Yep.
Man, that gorilla needs to
I'm
be
having
done
with y'all
away
right
with.
now talking to y'all.
it.
This fish wants TikTok.
That fish
Yeah, that fish,
regrets
I
the
know
choice.
that where those fish existed. And man, if I could go back in time and kill anything,
It'll be
it's
that
gonna be
fish.
the first fish.
This fish right here.
You're gonna go TikTok. Let's
Oh,
He,
TikTok.
so if you go,
everything.
so if you go back in time to stop yourself from ever existing, then how did you go back in time to stop yourself from ever existing?
Paradox.
Mm.
Have you ever seen Predestination? You should watch it if you haven't.
The only answer to that is Jehovah.
No, I have fond memories of climbing out of the soupy dark waters onto the land.
Did you
Like
see the
that
new light
fish.
or did you see the old light?
I went towards the light, Carol Ann.
Which one? The new no, gotta be the new
The
or the old light.
lesser luminary,
The
or
lesser.
Which
Wait,
one?
which light was it? Was it
Which
the
one
greater
was it?
light or the? Oh no, I'm not sure.
That fish.
well, number 7 had a good question. I was surprised they even asked it. What should the fossil records show if the Genesis creation account is factual? They had it. If you need a cheat sheet, they had it back on that graph.
What the pink one?
Yes, the creation
Ah.
pattern anticipated a fossil record. So, if Genesis is true, what
Oh
would
yeah,
they expect the fossil record to look like?
Complex
life
life
forms,
forms.
appearing.
Yeah.
No transitional links between
How
different
how
families.
convenient.
Uh-huh.
Very
How convenient. How convenient.
Just
Only
like
evidence you need is just bones.
them bones and bones.
So the second one is really just a modified form of evolution, right? It's an unspecified amount of time. And if there's enough time, then complex life forms can multiply, allowing for variety. But they're just saying like according to their kind, which they say biological families. So maybe it is families on the
Oh, maybe
but still, this is
in
still
their eyes.
it's still just a modified form of evolution. They're saying the leap from one kind to another is just unsurmountable and illogical and could never happen.
Mhm.
But a kind within a kind could clearly form into so many different things, right? Like they don't deny that a dog is all the same species, even though there's a lot of different types of dogs.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if you argue those are subspecies. I don't, but anyway.
You know what that fish face looks like? Scroll down.
Fish face.
It looks like it's looking at me like if
You
you're this,
looked at me.
if you're
And I looked at him.
if you've made it this far in this book,
He looks at me.
you're in trouble. Turn back. Turn
Our
back.
friend-
You've
our
gotten
friend
too
with
far.
Photoshop, can you do something with this for us?
It's a warning. What'd you say now?
I said, our friend that does Photoshop, can you do something with this for us?
He did make a
Yeah, when you was
picture
backsliding
last week.
when you
I
was
showed.
backsliding, Dob Stopper, he was putting it together.
Oh, gotcha.
Okay. Jehovah's really upset with you at this moment in time. I've talked to him. I said, hey, I can vouch for Dob Stopper. He'll do better next time.
We have to use a little theocratic discipline on you tonight, Dob Stopper. Sorry.
Oh, God. Is it the death penalty? Because
It'd be better than this shit.
that's why I expect a theocratic punishment to be.
All right. Where we at now?
All right, where are we? Where
How
were
complete
we?
how complete is the record?
Oh, at 9? Okay.
How complete is the record? However, is the fossil record complete enough for a fair test of whether it is creation or evolution that finds support. Over a century ago, Darwin did not think so. What was wrong with the fossil record in his time? It did not contain the transitional links required to support his theory. The situation caused him to say, why then is not every geological formation and every stratum, I won't say scrotum, well, I said it anyway, full of
And we're banned.
such immediate links? Geology surely does not reveal any such finely graduated organic chain. And this perhaps is the most obvious and serious objection which can be urged against the theory. The fossil record in Darwin's day proved disappointing to him in another way. He explained the abrupt manner in which whole groups of species suddenly appear in certain formations has been urged by several. What is that? I'm saying that?
Paleontologists?
No,
What?
not that.
Oh, sorry. Several?
No, urge.
Urged? Yeah,
Yeah, okay,
urged.
I don't use that word that a lot. So it's like,
I urge you to use it more often.
all right. Several paleontologists as a fatal objection to the belief in the transmutation of
Oopsie. Here we come.
species.
Species.
Species. Species.
He added, there is another, an allied difficulty, which is much more serious. I allude to the manner in which species belong. Let me start that back over. There is another, an allied difficulty, which is much more serious. I allude to the manner in which species belonging to several of the main divisions of the animal kingdom suddenly appeared in the lowest known fossiliferous rocks. The case at present must remain implicable and may be truly urged as a valid argument against the evolutionary views here entertained.
Can we
Darwin
pause here?
sees.
Huh? I was gonna say, can we pause here because
Yes.
it's very long. So I thought maybe we could do questions in between.
Okay.
And also, I just was thinking how funny it is that it feels like this is made to put you to sleep.
It does
Yeah,
feel
we're
that
all
way.
pretending. We're all here pretending like we're paying attention.
I mean, I am paying
nobody
attention, but I'm just not really.
No, I mean, like in the Jehovah's
No,
Witnesses
I know. I know what you're saying.
But yeah, I'm also
Right.
kind of pretending right now too.
I have no idea what they're talking about. I'm not.
I've never even seen the word fossiliferous before.
Exactly. That's what I said.
Fossiliferous.
That's what. If you was here last week and I backslided, you would have heard when I said that they're using these. They're just boring you into joining. So you know what? I'd rather just don't give me the science jargon. I'll just take the other thing you got. I'll take the baptism. Things easier. You're killing me with all this science jargon. And they're using it, but they use it in a way where you
transmutation.
Yeah. And they present this book like a science book. So these people who's in these Kingdom Halls think they're actually looking at a science book and not looking at a what you call that thing?
This
propaganda.
Yeah, propaganda. They don't realize this is propaganda at its finest.
Yeah.
Probably some
right. I would have had no idea, but now I can obviously see that it's propaganda. But back then, I just
science. This look because look how he did it. This is how science books look. Mm-hmm. Look at that. They got little diagrams and stuff all out. They're using transmutation and fossiliferous science.
Fossiliferous rocks. It's inexplicable.
So number 9 or chapter 9, the question was, what did Darwin say about the evidence in his day? And honestly, he's just saying, yeah, we need more fossils. We need to find some more fossils
Yeah,
and see if I'm right. That's basically what he said.
So
Yeah.
it must be creation.
We did say that they were. We agreed with Jehovah's Witnesses that if the fossil evidence showed
Weird.
a gradual changing of one kind of life into another, that evolution would be factual. And
I mean, that's kind of how they laid it out, because they're trying to set it up to show that they're being generous, and
So-
we're really going to find that it's creation that makes the most sense. But
Yeah.
yes, I do believe that in a lot of the wording here, they're like, yeah, we'd accept it, but unfortunately, it just doesn't look good,
yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is like that is how it is now.
Yeah.
Like in 2023, the fossil evidence does show a gradual changing of one kind of life into another. It does show the beginnings of new structures and living things. My favorite thing to really probably shouldn't recommend this when people are first learning about evolution, but whale evolution is incredibly interesting because it's the opposite of this fish.
in the water, then they're out of the water, then they're back in the water.
Yeah.
See, look at this. Look at that. You missed one Bible study, and look at you.
Oh, wait. Repeating everything y'all said last time.
You think you're so worldly, you know everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Have all the
I
answers,
think-
don't you, whale boy?
I think I might have said this at the very beginning when we started reading this, but I genuinely think that what this book anyway is saying is that they do believe that the earth could be millions of years old, and they do believe that evolution is factual. They just believe that God started it. That's it. That's really what
God
they kind of
did
set
it.
up. They backtrack quite a bit, and then at some point I'm confused and I'm like, wait, so are we going back to the 6,000-year-old Earth thing? Because I thought you said back here a day could be any amount of time.
I'm gonna say it again.
Stop trying to make it make sense.
No, I'm gonna say it again. That makes sense if we were simpler creatures. But why would you make this uberly complex being and then start asking for some of the most simplest things, like what you're wearing and how you're cutting your hair? Why does he care about that? It just seems weird.
He cares.
All that hair. If you wanted my hair to be a certain way, why did you make it not be that way or grow that? If you wanted me to wear one thing, you should have made that's the only thing there is.
Yeah, if God doesn't make
Mhm.
mistakes, then he made you perfect, and then that means that the way you look is exactly wonderful. It's good, right? God doesn't. He looked at his creations and said it was good. So therefore,
Why are you trying to change him?
He gave you he made us poop.
Yeah, I think it designed humans better than what God did. I could
Yeah,
design
definitely. I could give us some upgrades for sure.
Yeah.
Mhm.
they're definitely going to get into stuff like that later on, and we're going to have a chance at that.
Oh God, yeah, because they're gonna say it's all perfect.
Oh yeah, because we haven't even gotten to.
Amazing.
We're just
Oh,
talking
yeah,
about
yeah.
bones, right? Like
Yeah, we're just at the bone, the crusty bone.
the crusty bones. In paragraph 10, they quote Darwin in The Origin of the Species. Yes, and you guys saw the ellipses.
Oh yeah.
We're not going to read this because it's long, but if you can see my thing here. So
Oh,
this
yeah.
is the page,
Nerd alert.
and stop it. Okay, you don't have to read this, but the yellow highlighted part is the top of the quote,
Mhm.
and then all of this,
Oh dear.
and then all of this, and then that's the bottom of the quote.
Damn.
So there was
So
a
we're
lot.
talking about which quote?
There was a lot to say in this book. It's not a long book,
And they
recommend
just
everybody
cut
read it.
out that huge section.
But they were like, "Oh yeah, and this, and then yeah." They just chopped it up. He goes on to continue talking. That was just He's just trying to build up to make a point, obviously.
No.
How
You got
Excuse me.
long
One
did it
try.
take you to figure out that that's how far away? Did you read all that in between those two parts to find where the quote was?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I've read it. I've read the whole book before, but yes, I did go back and find it. I
And
think,
you were just sitting there like, where did they find the second half for like a?
yeah, I
two-
kept reading until I found it. So there you have it.
Wow.
Not cherry picked
Good
though.
on you, sister, Dr. Time Waster.
What's that?
Good
Take
research.
it on you,
Oh,
Sister
you're
Dr. Time
welcome.
Waster.
You're welcome.
There
I
you
can
go,
tell you
let's
what
go.
pages that was if you want. Anyway.
You're very good at misquoting.
Did we? Which questions did we last do?
We just what other disappointment did Darwin mention? But that's my point is he mentioned a disappointment, but he had explanations within it. Yeah, of course he's disappointed. I'm disappointed that I don't get to know like what a black hole really looks like. Because it'll never be in my lifetime that I'll probably ever get to see that, right? I want to know what it's like to stand on Jupiter. I might never get to know what Jupiter looks like on the moon.
Might you're not.
They have missions on the way over there.
Yeah,
Voyager got a good
yeah.
look, but
You're not gonna go.
Hell no.
what was it?
You're not gonna
Juno?
go.
Getting me out there on some
Juno?
clown.
You think
No.
do you want to be
Mm.
the first person in a lawless space trip?
Yeah.
No, you gotta
Yeah.
wait till they establish something out there.
No. I just shoot me off into space.
Law, it's gonna be lawless out there. We're lawless here.
Right?
Imagine us in space. Because if you
Oh,
get in
I
trouble,
want
like
to colonize space already.
you get out there, boy, you're in trouble.
Imagine being the only woman.
Oh God, no. Oh my God. I shudder to think
Yeah.
about it. Oh my God, no. Oh, that's so scary. I'm
That's-
sorry.
That's terrible. We're terrible.
Yeah, man. No.
Yeah.
We need to get this shit under the control. We don't even know what's in our oceans.
So
Trying to
no,
go to outer space.
oh, we just
We can look in all directions. It's fine.
her dreams.
True. Yeah. I mean, there's nothing.
Dr. Tyler,
No, there's
I
nothing wrong with
imagine-
it. But
I imagine like on your wall, you got like a picture you drew when you was a little kid of how you was gonna stand on Jupiter, and we're over here like you'll never go to Jupiter.
I did want to be an astronomer.
Give up on
I
that
did
dream.
always love the
Feel
stars.
the
I mean,
dream right
it's
now.
beautiful.
Did y'all see James Webb Space Telescope's new photos of Uranus?
I haven't.
I am not sure. I know I looked at something recently of theirs, but I don't know what I don't remember what it was.
Do yourself a favor and go look it up.
Take a little look see.
I heard that there was some new discovery made by James Webb Space Telescope in the past like week or two.
Oh, there's like tons everywhere it looks. Oh, cool. Now we can see things better.
It's awesome.
I think it was stars that were older than what they thought the Big Bang was, maybe.
My brothers and sisters, y'all getting a little too early on here. Too early, getting.
Yeah, we're gonna get to the solar system. You don't think they're gonna pass up how amazing the solar system is?
Oh, I can't wait. It's gonna be so cool.
Who wants to read number 11?
Don't you come over here.
I'll do some reading.
Don't you come here.
Darwin attempted to explain these huge problems by attacking the fossil record. He said, I look at the geological record as a history of the world imperfectly kept. ... Imperfect to an extreme degree. What do you leave out there? It was assumed by him and others that as time passed, the missing fossil links surely would be found. Now, after well over a century of extensive digging, vast numbers of fossils have been unearthed. Is the record still so imperfect? The Book of Processes of Organic Evolution comments, the record of past forms of life is now extensive and is constantly increasing in richness as paleontologists find, describe, and compare new fossils. And Smithsonian Institution scientist Porter Keir adds, there are 100 million fossils all cataloged and identified in museums around the world. Hence, a guide to Earth history declares, by the aid of fossils, paleontologists can now give us an excellent picture of the life of past ages. After all this time and the assembling of millions of fossils, what does the record now say? Evolutionist Stephen Stanley states that these fossils reveal new and surprising things about our biological origins. The book A View of Life, written by 3 evolutionists, adds, the fossil record is full of trends that paleontologists have been unable to explain. What is it that these evolutionary scientists have found to be so surprising and are unable to explain? What has confounded such scientists is the fact that the massive fossil evidence now available reveals the very same thing that it did in Darwin's day. Basic kinds of living things appeared suddenly and did not change appreciably for long periods of time. No transitional links between one major kind of living thing and another have ever been found. So what the fossil record says is just the opposite of what was expected. Swedish botanist Herbert Nielsen described the situation this way. After 40 years of his own research, it is not even possible to make a caricature of an evolution out of paleobiological facts. The fossil material is now so complete that ... the lack of transitional series cannot be explained as due to the scarcity of material. The deficiencies are real. They will never be filled.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow, indeed.
Yes, sir. I was completely paying attention.
So are they really trying to say that the fossils appeared just sudden at the same
did.
time is what they're saying? They're saying they appeared at the same time suddenly.
Paragraph 14 is not quoted. Paragraph 14 are the author's conclusions. I don't know where they got those conclusions, but that is what they're saying. Yes.
Oh, right.
I also just want to point out that paragraph 15, the Swedish botanist Herb Nielsen described the situation this way. After 40 years of his own research, that was, let's see, what is this? Chapter 5, 15.
That must have been deflating.
Herbert
40
Nielsen,
years.
1953.
Oh, Lord Jesus.
After 40 years of his own research that he started in 1913.
Yeah. Like, bro.
Okay, I just
Let me
want to
see
say that.
updated info.
Where did we start?
I was at
11.
Oh God.
11 through 15.
So 11 was, how did Darwin attempt to explain the difficulties? And he's
Oh, it was very simple. He said ... and added a dot
he said
in
imperfect.
addition.
And yeah, imperfect to an extreme degree. Well, let me just take a minute to think about that. Darwin is being pretty damn honest in the sense that they didn't have as much as he would have liked to have seen, right? But they also didn't have technology. They also
not
didn't
lying
have
about
a
it.
lot of the ability to do this research. It was the 1800s and people had other things on their mind, perhaps.
Lots of less fossils at that time.
The Industrial Revolution was still going on, right? Like it also, it is just a snapshot in time, right? Not every animal that dies becomes a fossil, right? It's certain situations that have to occur for it to happen. So it's like winning the lottery, right? So it's very possible that a whole species could live and die and never have been fossilized because the conditions just never were right for maybe how they died. They didn't all die off.
Real convenient.
Real convenient. It's unfortunately the truth. It will probably never be this complete thing that people want. People want to be able to have a catalog of every species that's ever existed and know exactly when it lived, when it died, and how it lived. And we're just never going to have that for everything.
We do have a impressively large amount of that, though. Like,
We
way more
do.
than anybody is going to lead you on to think that believes in creation.
So number 12 is how extensive is the fossil record now? Keep in mind, this book was also written in 86. And then when they republished it in 2006, they didn't update any.
There was
research.
100
You
million
ain't got to
fossils
update. You don't
at
need to
that time,
update
it
the
said.
truth.
Except when it's new light.
Except when it's new light.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So what does the fossil record look like now?
Like a complete catalog.
It's definitely a giant catalog. There are places, geological rock formations. I believe it's like the shale kind of rock that has it perfectly, where you can literally go out and chip a piece off and peel off chunks of rock like pages of a book, and often you'll open it and there'll be fossils. There's just so many fossils. And we're going to get to that too. There are explanations. It's the Cambrian explosion that people refer to as this layer of rock in this time period where there was suddenly an explosion of life. And that's where they're going to get to as far as like how it suddenly appeared, just like when God said, and I created everything all at once. But well, I guess I'm getting ahead of myself, but we passed Tiktaalik, which was the fossil, the creepy goldfish.
He's good looking.
That's a fossil.
Something about him does it for me. It's probably like genetic.
His look on his face said, I was once like you.
Or you were once like me. Either way works.
There's, let's see, Archaeopteryx.
What?
Which is Archaeopteryx is the fossil that they found that is essentially considered the proof that the birds are dinosaurs.
They mentioned it in this
Okay. That's what's up.
Oh, they do?
towards the beginning.
I'm down for some birds.
Yeah. It says, existential crisis fish. 300 million years of evolution, and now I gotta get a damn job. It's true.
What's the purpose, man? Screw that. No thanks. Thank you, Jonathan. I think that's a
pretty
t-shirt
great.
too.
Awesome.
I think that's a t-shirt you can get as well. No
Shut
thank
up
you,
and
no
take
job
my
for
money.
me.
13 and 14, the questions were, why have evolutionists been disappointed by the enlarged fossil evidence? Wait, disappointed by the enlarged fossil evidence?
Because even with all that evidence, they still don't have the exact in between mouth to beak and feather to or scale to feather, whatever the fuck.
You know.
It's not perfect like they expect it to be.
Yeah, we still got some transitional fossils we got to get in the mix, and we just can't get those. So until you show me some of them transitionals, I don't want to hear nothing else.
Was it paragraph 13, the book A View of Life, written by 3 evolutionists? The fossil record is full of trends that paleontologists have been unable to explain. That was published in 1974.
Oh God.
So,
who out here is calling themselves evolutionists?
they're evolutionists. I mean, they
But-
might specialize now, like
I know, but they just saying it like it's just like
this is in 74. They didn't have that many specialties. That's what science does. Is the more you learn, the more you know you need to know. So then you get people who niche into that thing to learn it better. Like it's, there used to just be doctors. Now there's cardiologists, neurologists. Like
I like my doctor to come to my house and I just pay him with chickens.
so witch
barter
doctor.
system.
A little house on the prairie.
Oh, better times, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Uh,
No. Oh, no.
Hmm.
When all
Do
you
not
needed
take
was
me
a
back there. Hell no.
cold rag.
Oh.
You gotta
Yeah, I
have to
don't
go
think-
work in the coal mines, pal.
I don't even think it's accurate. Why have evolutionists been disappointed by the fossil evidence? I don't think they have been.
I'm
They
don't-
just say they are.
supported by it.
I don't know many that are like, oh, it's so disappointing. There's so many fossils and they don't say the things I want them to say. Like,
Of course,
just put-
they're just twisting what
They're
they've
just putting words in
taken
people's
out
mouth.
of context is all they're doing.
They're
Theocratic warfare.
the way they use just get away from here. The way they use it, disappointment, they make it seem like they feeling defeated.
yeah.
Right.
So
Deflated.
like,
and
yeah, you can be
oh.
disappointed, but still with a lust for the, but not in the sense of like, oh, we're never going to get it type thing.
Right.
But they make it seem like, oh, I'm disappointed. We haven't discovered. It's over. It's over for us, guys. The Jehovah's have gotten us.
I think what a lot of creationists do, and this book is clearly no different, is they take the honest commentary of scientists who've poured their heart and souls into the
Yes.
work that they're doing, who are willing to admit when the data showed that the thing they thought was the way it's going to be didn't turn out, which is why you really shouldn't put your heart and soul into an outcome, but more of just the process of truth, the
Mhm.
getting to an answer, getting anything that's going to help explain it and not want it to be a thing. And these scientists and all of these things that they've been quoting this whole time, they're just people saying, hey, I was disappointed it didn't turn out, but you know what? You learn so much in the failure of science. And they're talking about themselves most of the time. And then they take these things and go, see, scientists are sad that it didn't work. And see, scientists even admit it's not real. But
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It's like a narcissistic abuser who just takes like anything you say and just twists it into something.
You know why they think like that? Another reason why they think like that is because how the science has been presented in terms of media. It's always presented as this rigid, straight to the thing, exactly what it is type thing. So that's how they assume it to be. Like, oh, whatever you say, oh, science, if science say it, science is like, boom. It ain't no iffy whiffy with it. It's exactly what it is. And that's how they view it. So when they don't get it right, they be like, whoa, science can't get it right. Oh,
Must
it
be
gotta
God.
It gotta be Jehovah.
Yeah.
And
That's the better answer.
And they're able to use that to convince other people because, again, when you look at science or any way of science has ever been showed in TVs, movies, anything else, it's never shown as like it's never given isn't given really human qualities about it.
Like
always,
it's still developing and
it's
evolving
always
and whatnot.
Well, it's this lack of emotion thing. Like it's always presented as there's no emotion when it comes to science. That's why when they always talk about they talk about abortion and stuff like that because they don't understand. They're not looking at it like that. They're looking at it too emotionally, and they think science doesn't show itself as emotional. The way you described it is how they need to hear more people talk about it than versus the rigid way it's been presented. But whatever, they're gonna still believe they're gonna believe. So it
works.
So. whatever.
It's a lot of effort.
Can't get them
learn.
all, man. But it's hard to make this type of stuff sound, because sometimes the truth is not a nice thing. And you can't make the not a nice thing not sound. Saying I don't know isn't. I don't know. You're gonna die and what? I don't know. It's like, you're like, what, you don't know? No, we don't know. You're just gonna be dead.
You have to know.
And
Goeta said JWs believe in microevolution, but they don't believe in macroevolution. My mom basically explained this to me, but she had never. I don't know if she'd ever heard the terms micro, macro. She just said that we believe evolution happens, but that the one kind doesn't change from another. But you'll hear a lot of creation apologists and Christian apologists in general use the term micro and macro. Those aren't really microevolution and macroevolution aren't really terms that get used in evolutionary biology. It's all just evolution. Those are terms that religious apologists use to try to make their own distinctions. And the only distinction really is just the amount of time.
That's it. Absolutely correct. The only distinction between micro and macro is the amount of time. If you give it enough time, it will continue to change. Things will inevitably continue to change. But if you're only going to look at it on the time scale that's this big, then we're only going to see, small changes. Bacteria, we can watch bacteria evolve in real time. It takes multiple generations, but because E. coli can replicate in 15 minutes, will replicate a new bacterium. It's very quick, which is why they use it in research a lot, because it takes off a lot of time when you can just replicate.
I can replicate faster than that.
Me too, actually.
All day, every day.
Okay, yeah, no, probably
looks like the world was slipping back in.
Slipping in deep.
Whirly people. Keep your minds focused on your hope.
I couldn't help it, brother. Sorry, I'm strained.
Yeah. Stop it. Keep it up. You on a thin.
Walking a thin line.
On a thin line. A real thin line.
Yeah, this is a good point that Daniel makes.
There wasn't a way that talked about it.
That it admits that bacteria do experience microevolution because of antibiotics and stuff like that.
Yeah, antibiotic resistance.
Right.
If everybody's not familiar with that, is when bacteria become resistant to the antibiotics that we use to kill them. And when you get down to the microscopic level, the cellular level of how the molecules of the antibiotics we take kill bacteria, there are steps in which their replication process, if they had a slight change in the way that they build their cell walls, or how they code for the gene that pumps in the drug into their cells or doesn't pump it out, or whichever step along the process, if that bacterium survives and you don't continue to push heavily on they're actually considered chemo for bacterium, which I just opened up another can of worm, but essentially that bacterium, if it doesn't continually get the right amount of drug for the right duration of time, they can then end up replicating, and then replicating the same gene that then is resistant to that particular antibiotic. And then it then continues to flourish and take over. And then before you know it, we don't have an antibiotic that we can give you that will get rid of the infection. And it also happens, obviously, on all microbacteria, viruses, all these things mutate and when they replicate. So it happens a lot. But that's just how they evolve on a very, very simple life, like single cellular organism life cycle that's very, very short. So we get to see evolution happen in real time, that in a time that we can perceive the change. We're lucky enough to be able to be alive long enough and have brains smart enough to observe it and see it in real time.
Witchcraft.
So you say.
So I say.
So have you
So
seen
you
one
say.
kind change into another kind?
Well, probably. I don't know that it'd be
Technically,
very
yes.
difficult to gauge that threshold. Aside from now, how are we going to define a species? How are we going to define a kind? That's why when you look at the kingdom, phyla, family, order, class, whatever, I'm not doing it correctly, but that's why there's so many of them, because there's so many intermediate stages of functionality, of anatomy, of relatedness that go on, that they just keep adding more ways to define it. But if we're just going to say something's a kind, then where are we going to define that?
Whatever's convenient for me, depending on what the subject is.
It's convenient.
Yeah.
Well,
Take that.
well, brothers and sisters, the devil has got to y'all. Um,
Yeah, I don't know if we want to stop here. So we're in for an
Yeah.
hour. What?
Where were we at 16?
We're on
So we
16, where life suddenly appears,
we could pick up
but
from
only
there.
every time that you're near.
We can pick up. We can pick up next time from there.
Okay, so 16 will start our next sesh. That was life altering.
Yeah.
Truly, I get so much spiritual food out of reading this book.
I don't think my brain can take any more of that for the night.
Whatever do
Yeah.
you mean?
Just
Oh, it's really painful, you guys. This chapter's so long.
I don't know. I don't know what's
Yeah.
I don't know what's more painful, the actual book or then hearing the actual information.
You don't have to be here. Your eternal soul is not based on whether or not you show up.
It's like, man, it's like, oh, this stuff is terrible. I want to hear the right information. And then the minute I hear the right information, like, man, this is a lot of right information.
This is a lot of right
That's
information.
just coming from my dummy brain.
I know.
Imagine what real, actual scientists could tell you. Yeah, no, I would recommend for homework, everybody go to, hold on, I gotta pull it up here.
We got to learn the building blocks here. This is what we need to do, is the building blocks of life.
All you gotta do is you can search it on YouTube, you can search it on Google, whatever, and just type in Futurama season 6, episode 9, evolution, and you will get to see the clip that I'm sure if you're on TikTok at all, you have probably seen the clip where the scientist is debating with Professor Farnsworth about evolution and transitional fossils. And that is how I would sum up all of this chapter. So
yeah.
I'm not sure if we're allowed to show that clip here.
I don't know. I mean, can we?
No.
No.
We can't pull up another YouTube clip and
It's
play
Disney.
it.
Oh, Futurama? No, we cannot.
That's Disney.
That sucks. They make
So-
everything so not fun.
I would recommend everybody go watch it because it's just the perfect.
I
It
know.
summarizes
It's
everything.
even more hilarious when he goes to the other planet and the robots do it too.
Yes.
Good times.
Also, what's that episode of Star Trek Voyager where they actually find
The dinosaurs.
Yes.
Yeah, the dinosaurs.
What is that episode
I
called?
can't think of it, but I never watched that episode because it just makes me upset. I just get upset watching it because the dinosaurs.
Why you get upset watching?
I get upset. I get upset with the
Which one?
dinosaurs.
Because of the evil doctrine lady, or
Yeah, it's like I don't want to see these people.
now I gotta look it up. Okay, there's an episode of Star Trek Voyager where they go to another planet in another part of the galaxy and run into a species that evolved on Earth. But they believe they evolved where they landed, where they've lived for millennia, right? And so that species believes that they're native to that region of space, but they're actually dinosaurs that escaped the planet before they went extinct. And
Something like that.
Yeah.
Wowsies.
I'm trying to
So
remember if I've seen this episode or not.
It's like on season 2 or 3, right?
A
It's
Voyager,
it's-
you said?
yeah.
It's before 7 and 9 gets there, I believe, right? Was 7 and 9 there?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so it's either, so it's definitely 1, 2. It's barely 2. I just started rewatching Voyager.
You did.
I'm gonna have to start watching it because I've only seen basically what you've shown me, Dr. Time Waster.
But yes, it was kind of painful to watch because it's basically like the religion, the doctrine of that species that doesn't
Dinosaur.
want to hear it. I don't want to hear about
It was
your
a bunch of Christian
Wow.
dinosaurs.
Oh, wait. Wasn't there? Was this the episode where? No, I'm thinking of Next Generation. I think
Not the
where
mama.
they were thinking that they were God or something.
There was a couple of them that were like that.
Successive evolution.
Distant origin.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's what it's called.
I thought you were going to say orgy.
There's something creeping behind you.
Season 3, episode 23, called Distant Origin. Sorry. Did you watch that? That could also be your homework. In fact, you could watch it instead of watching us.
Never. How dare you suggest such a thing?
No. Well, thanks for hanging out with us, everybody. And
Yeah, what a fun night.
I assume we'll be back next week. I don't have any plans. You guys have any plans?
I don't think so.
Nope. Just ready to hear the good word.
That's
Just keep listening until you hear something good, huh?
Yeah.
Exactly. Hi, Ray.
I can't believe I'm volunteering my time to do this.
Oh, I'm paying him. Don't.
You're getting paid in the Holy Spirit, buddy. Thank you,
All right.
Jonathan. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Everybody in the audience. It was great to see you. It's always a fun little chat, seeing your comments. We appreciate the love. And yeah, I guess we won't be seeing you till next year.
Ooh.
So
I
I hope.
person to make that joke to me.
Oh God, it's a terrible joke. It's pretty terrible. It wasn't intentional. It was just
It's true though. It's
calendar.
a true statement. We won't see him till next year.
We won't see you till next year. So I hope you all have a lovely season. I love all you beautiful people. You're very
Happy New
special
Year.
to me. Yeah. And make sure you remember how be thankful, because there's so many people who don't have what we have right now.
Don't drink and drive.
Please don't.
Yes.
Please don't do anything silly like that. Yeah. All those things. Brush your teeth before you cross the street. Buckle up your seatbelt before you open a door. All those things. You do those. Okay. Love you. Bye. Have a good night, y'all. Bye.
Thanks for coming out.
All right.